Plan parallel subtasks, so it creates different agents. So one's a Quran researcher, one's a Hadith researcher, one's a scientific researcher, historical, philosophical, and then a document synthesizer. And it has a little UI here, so it kind of shows each. So this is a document synthesizer. Here's his role, right? Here's all the different personalities and agents that it's creating here. Okay, so that's going to take a while. It may take about 10 minutes. So we're going to move on, and we'll come back in 10 minutes and see its results. OpenClaw. Who has heard of OpenClaw? Anyone? Yes, brother. What is OpenClaw? Have you used it? OpenClaw. Yep. Yep. So it's a local agent that runs. You can give it access to your entire file system, and it can do whatever you want. It can organize your email, organize your hard drive. It can run tasks for you, do whatever you want. So it's becoming very, very popular right now, but there are huge, huge security implications with using a tool like that without any human in the loop. Qwen Coder. Who has used Qwen Coder, another Chinese coding model? Anyone? So Qwen is comparable to Sonnet from Anthropic as far as the benchmark testing that's been done on this model is basically equivalent to Sonnet, which is amazing because Sonnet has so much money behind it, right? Billions of dollars essentially to run it, and the Chinese have done it using an open source model, not using NVIDIA technology because they're banned from getting NVIDIA technology from the US government. Anyone else have any other things that they've seen recently that they'd like to share that they found interesting? New trends? Yep. Okay, can you tell us a little bit about skills?
Define certain ways of doing things. For example, let's say you have a specific style project. You want to define, okay, I want to set up a data model. You can define that pattern. Claude code, what it's going to do is going to pick it up. It's going to pick it up not every time, so it doesn't fill up your context window, but it's going to pick up when it's needed. That is
Essentially, you could give it a new skill. Like you could create a skill. How I've used it is I gave it a skill of how to deploy to my production server. Step by step, here's what you need to do. And then when I tell it deploy, it knows it's going to go look at that skill and follow the right steps each and every time. Yes. Yeah, Gamma's really good. Gamma, and now I like Kimi. Gamma and Kimi are both really good. Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's go back and check our task here, how it's going. So Marlowe here, let's look at Marlowe. Marlowe is an analyzer, right? Li Hua here, they give it personalities, is a hadith evidence researcher. So it's still continuing to go. It's on Winston now, who's conducting comprehensive research on logical and philosophical proofs for Islam. Existence of Allah, all of this. Quranic challenge, the inimitability challenge. Very interesting. I tried this before earlier as a test to this, and it created a 60-page document. And it was very, very well researched document, so it was amazing. Okay, so let's continue. So the hidden cost of convenience, like I was saying, all of these models, like Claude, OpenAI, Gemini, they're all really, really high quality. But what are we giving up for that convenience? Well, we're giving up a lot of privacy and security, right? Because as I always like to say, if you're not the customer, you're the product. If you're not paying for it, or if you're paying very, very little for it, then you are the product. You and your data is the product that they are selling, right? So if you look at all of these companies here, Meta, TikTok, Anthropic, ChatGPT, who is the product? What is the product? Your data. It's our data. That's the product. And that's sold to third parties. It's sold to governments, right? We all know of a government that got a lot of metadata in the past 3 years, right? So it's very important for us to be aware of what is the consequences of us using these applications, right? TikTok is now primarily US owned, right? It was Chinese owned, or maybe it wasn't even Chinese. They say it was Singaporean owned. But now Oracle owns 90% of it. Anthropic is all a US company here, but they are controlling a lot of our data here. Just look at the Google ecosystem here. We use Google for email, then we create documents in Google Drive, or in Google Docs. We store it in Google Drive, right? We analyze our websites with Google Analytics and Looker Studio. We use Gemini for all of our AI needs. Our devs use TensorFlow and AI Studio to create AI models. We store things in GCP, Google Cloud, right? We use Chrome to get to any of this. We are 100% embedded in the Google ecosystem, whether we like it or not. Try going one day without using Google. It's going to be a challenge, right? So I'm not saying these are bad tools. I'm saying we need to be aware of where our data is going and what is the consequences of us using these tools. Okay? So I don't know if this is readable or not, but just a summary of some of the risks, right? Sensitive data leaves your environment. Early on in the ChatGPT days, NVIDIA was using ChatGPT, and they had some trade secrets that they entered into ChatGPT, and now it is now part of the model, and the models have been trained on that. So they could potentially lose some IP just doing that. We don't know how they do data handling. Yes, there are some policies and procedures that they've communicated, especially if you're on the enterprise plan and all of that. But do you really know what's going on with that data? No. Healthcare companies. Who's here in healthcare? PHI, PII, HIPAA. How does all of that relate? None of these are, I won't say none of these, but many of these are not HIPAA compliant, right? I wish this monitor wasn't doing this. Okay, so next, I want to share this. So this is a commercial that Anthropic is putting out for the Super Bowl. So no, OpenAI. So OpenAI is introducing ads, and this is an ad by Anthropic, basically attacking OpenAI for what they're doing. I'm going to try one thing and just put my resolution down to see if that. Let's see if that's better. So the way that many people use chat and AI is so much different than we use Google. People are putting their deep, dark secrets into chat, right? They're using it as a therapist, as a friend. They're putting their health information in there, all tied to their account, right? So now you have this really different relationship with your chatbot, and now it's giving you advertisements, right? Based on exactly all of that information that you put in. So that's a huge step in a direction that we're not in today. So this is a very risky thing that we're getting into. Anyone knows how to fix this? Please let me know. Yes. Very personalized. Yeah. Yeah. So Facebook started this, right? They started it with the Pixel and the very personalized advertising. But this is taking it to a whole nother level. YouTube does it in a way too. Yep. So yeah, again, so just how Cloud AI uses your data, right? You enter in all of this data entries, queries, conversations, but it's more than that. It's personal information you're putting in there. The Cloud AI processes it. There's public data exploitation, personal input exploitation, unauthorized access. By the way, I'm taking a class at a university, and they advertise you get free access to Gemini. It's like, this is great. That saves me 20, 25 bucks a month. I go and I look at the policy, and it says everything you enter in every chat is shared with your institution. Why would I use that then, right? But who's going to read that besides me? Very few people are going to read that. It's not HIPAA, it's just a university. Yeah. No, because when you sign up, there's a policy, a user agreement that you sign that everybody doesn't read. And you have given permission. When you sign the user agreement, you say you agree. You click I agree, and it says all the data you. Exactly. That's the problem. When you signed up and you agreed, that's enough. Legally, that's enough. Will they give more information? Maybe they will. I don't know. But legally, they've done their job. Yep. I don't know offhand. I think Palantir is a Microsoft client, right? So Microsoft's very much embedded there, if I'm correct. OpenAI is a big partner of Microsoft. Microsoft even invested in the Claude, into Anthropic. They're all tied together. All of them are tied together. So there, if you go to kimi.com, yes, that's out of the US. But like I said, and I'll talk more about it now, is it's an open source model, which means you can download it and run it on your own computer. And it's not, you can air gap it so you know it's not making any external requests and it's completely isolated into your environment. Yeah, I don't know if you could train it. You need a huge beast of a box to train it, but you can use it. Man, I love Cloud Code. Despite what I'm saying here, it is number one. It does. I haven't tried it yet. Okay, so let's move on. So what do? We talked about all of these risks. What do we do? So, sorry? No. There's alternatives here. Okay, so who here has heard of Hugging Face? Hugging Face. Hugging Face, let me open up the page here. It's sort of different, but it's on the same thing, yeah. So Hugging Face is a repository here of thousands and thousands of open source models. What does it mean to open source model? That means that you can download this, you can modify it, you know all of the parameters that they've used to train it, and you can change any of those parameters as you wish if you know how to do it. You can download it, run it on your own local computer, right? As long as you have a good enough computer, and you can have a chat interface or your own coding assistant, all of that, without even paying a penny. Now, what's the drawback? The drawback is you have to be able to run it and install it, and you have to learn a little bit. The open source tools overall, they're not at the quality of GPT 5.2 or Opus 4.6 or any of these, but they are very close. I'd say they're 90% there at this point, and they're just getting better and better and better. Each month, they're getting better and better. So this is Hugging Face. Ollama, right? You mentioned Ollama. Ollama is a tool that wraps around all of these models, so it makes it easy for you to download the model, run it, etc. There's different engines. There's Ollama, there's Llama CPP, there's VLLM, and there's others. But Ollama is kind of the easiest interface to deal with. So that's great. You got the model. You have this place where you can download all the models, but you need a chat interface, right? So there's a bunch of them out there. The one that I've liked best so far is Libre Chat. Again, it's open source. You can download it, run it on your local computer. So the next question you all will probably ask me is, what kind of hardware is required to actually do this, right? So ideally, if you want to run a good model, you want at least 128 gigabytes of GPU RAM. Okay, that's a lot. But how many of us are here in tech, actually work a job in tech, right? You all know that if you don't invest in your career, you're not going to get very far. So don't think of this as, it is an expense, but this is also an investment into your career, right, into our careers. So it may cost you a couple $1,000s, to buy a Mac Studio, a MacBook Pro, or a Spark, which is an NVIDIA GB10 GPU machine, but you could do a lot with that machine, and it's totally worth it if you're investing in this. There's also a few processors like the Ryzen 395. You can get a machine with that for about $2,700. You can also get NVIDIA GPUs, but good luck, those are very expensive and hard to find. So that's the presentation. Next thing I wanted to do is do a little bit of a demo of downloading a model with Ollama and then using it. So before I do that, anyone have any questions? Yes. So Ollama is an engine that you use to run any model. So it's not a model in itself like Opus is a model. And I'll show you exactly how that works. You'll click in a second. It has a slightly different function. Maybe let me show you how this works. Okay. Yes. Okay. Right. Yep. Yes. 100%. 100%. So one thing I'd suggest is using Claude. Uh, Actually, Claude has now Claude Cowork, which is you can download it. It's basically a UI on top of Claude Code, basically. And you can give it an instruction file, essentially, that every time it runs a command, it will first look there, right? And that'll baseline it every time. The other thing that Claude has, which I use all the time, is a prompt optimizer. So you can put a very basic prompt in there, and then you tell it to optimize its prompt. And it'll take your little paragraph, turn it into like this long with all the details in it. Yeah. Right. 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 Yeah, yeah, yeah. Claude Cowork. Yeah. Yes. It's basically it's a Claude that you can install locally on your computer. Uh, you might be able to use it for free. I'm not sure, honestly. Okay. So, yes. Wanted to make a chat bot. How long would it take if you start from scratch? You could probably do it in about 8 to 10 hours. Okay. So here I am. I am. I'm going to switch to this other one. Okay. So I'm logged in here to my home computer. This is not running on my little laptop here. And I can do Ollama list. And here's all of the different models that I have downloaded. Can you all see this back there? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download a different model. So I'm going to go to Ollama. Okay. And this is the ollama.com website. You'll see. I'll show you. So here they host a whole bunch of models. It's almost like GitHub for models. Yes, it's like Hugging Face. It's more limited than Hugging Face. All the models that are on Hugging Face cannot automatically be run on Ollama. Ollama has to update their release basically to support a model. And so it's less than ideal, but for a beginner, it's the easiest way to get started. Ollama is open source, completely open source. Yep. Okay, so let's go back here, and I'm going to do Ollama whole, and here's the name of the model. This is a 16. This is a 32 gigabyte model, so they get relatively large, but this is relatively small for a model. So it's going to pull it. It's going to take a little bit of time, about 60 gigs here, and it's running off my home internet. By the way, all of us should have a home lab. If we're in tech, we should have a home lab. We should have some servers set up at home. We should have some virtual machines that we can play around with and host different websites and all of that, so we continue to grow our knowledge base. Especially as for me in my career, as I've gotten older in my career, it's become less and less technical, right? So I want to stay in touch with the technical, otherwise I'm going to lose that 100%, right? And then that's when people, when they're doing layoffs and all that, that's when they see, oh, this guy, he's just a manager, or he's just this or that, he doesn't have any tech skills, you have nothing to fall back on, right? So you have to stay sharp. We all have to stay sharp throughout our career. Okay? So this is going to take a little bit to download. Yeah. So Claude is only hosted on Anthropic servers. You can't use Claude as an open source model, right? So you running it locally, you get all the privacy benefits. Privacy and security benefits. You're not sharing your data anywhere. Running on your machine, right? The other thing is, let's say you're building a product. Now, if you want to use AI in your product, you're going to have to subscribe to the API, like Anthropic API, which gets very expensive very quickly, or the OpenAI API. You're running it locally. You have a server set up in AWS somewhere. You have a local model running there. You can have Kimi 2.5 running there, which is 256 gigs. You just get a big server. It may cost you $300 a month, right? But every single request is free. So that's another benefit. Yeah. Exactly. You could get you can use AWS Bedrock, for example, and run a model there. But yeah, you could do that. Yeah, but I mean, you're going to have to pay for that, right? Which renting 120 gig memory VM, I mean, it gets a little bit expensive, right? But you purchase this at home, you get a DGX Spark at home, a couple $1,000s, and it's a one-time hit, and you're done. So there's different ways for sure. Yes, yes. Uh, it may, if you allow it to, right? So by default, the model won't go off out on the internet. But if you use a tool, right? There's different tools, MCP servers and other web browsing tools and all. Then yeah, it'll go and search the internet. But what I've done is my system is air gapped, meaning it can make requests out, but I control what comes in, right? And I control what websites it goes to, and I control what countries it can make requests to, and all of that, just using your router and all of that. So it's not super hard to do all that, but all the models, when they go on Hugging Face, they are also evaluated for security. They're evaluated for privacy, right? So any concerns there, it won't even be on Hugging Face at all. They do at least some level of security scans first. I don't know if they guarantee it in any way or anything like that, but they do a wide open. Yeah. Yeah. So my recommendation is if you can get a DGX Spark. Yep, it has 128 gigs of RAM, and it has an NVIDIA chip in there. Maybe, I mean, you could go with less, but with 128, you can run rather large models. You can run 120 billion parameter model, right? And the response is decent. So you can, like the brother said here, you can get a VM on I actually, just before I came here, I looked. Have you guys heard of Hetzner? Hetzner is a VM provider, cloud service provider, and you can get a machine with 128 gigs of RAM and about 500 gig hard drive for $45 a month. 128 gigs of RAM GPU. It's decent, right? 45 bucks a month. Yeah, I think you're most likely, if you're going to use Bedrock, you have an enterprise account. They're pretty expensive. Yeah, Raspberry Pi. So they just came out with a GPU for the Raspberry Pi 5. It's not super powerful. It's pretty small. You won't be able to run a big model on there, I don't think. Yeah, you can get what they call quantized models. Sorry? Quantized, thank you. Quantized models. So it could be a Q4 or a Q8 or a Q2, and that basically compresses the model so it can fit in smaller hard drives, but you lose some quality when you do that. You lose, like, I don't know, 5-10%, the more compressed it gets. So like a Q4, it's very compressed. So there's different models of it. You can get the 1 terabyte hard drive and 120 gigs of RAM for about $2,800. The one directly from NVIDIA has a bigger, like a 2 terabyte hard drive, and that's like $4,000. Yep, it comes with it's a NVIDIA specific OS that's based off of Ubuntu Linux. Yes. Yeah, I'll show you. So, for example, I was talking about Libre Chat, right? Get it open here. So Libre Chat, this is that chat UI that you can hook up to any local model. And you click here, you can see here's all of the source code. They link you to the GitHub repository where all the source code is here. And anyone who uses it, they can even contribute to the source code. They want to make some changes, they can contribute to it and all of that. So it's a big community project. All of the code is accessible to anybody. So you are confident that there's nothing nefarious in there. So a model is essentially it's trained on all sorts of data. So when you say Kimi 2.5 is a 1 trillion parameter model, so that means there's 1 trillion parameters used to train this model. And it's a very complex, essentially, algorithm of neural networks and all of that. I can't really explain the details, and maybe brother, you can explain it, but yeah, they're trained on huge amounts of data. Yeah, yeah, essentially. It is a neural network. It's literally modeled after the human brain, right? And different models are specialized for different things. Like I said, the Kimi model is specialized for computer vision. There's other models that are specialized for text-to-speech, right? There's other models that are specialized for medical, and they're all meaning they're focused on a certain data set. They're pre-trained or post-trained or for certain data sets. Not really. I'm actually working on one. Yeah, I'm working on one right now. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Okay. It's very necessary, right? Because we just saw about the influence of these models, right? I've actually I won't say it here because I know we're being recorded, but certain entities are paying AI models to give certain information. Yeah. Okay, so that's not a new model. That's basically a chatbot, right? Yeah. A new model would be like it's trained on every single hadith. Yeah. The, the only one I'm really aware of is Tartil.ai. They've built their own model, and it's a voice to text model, right? So that when you recite the Quran, it can tell you if you made mistakes or not, and it's fairly accurate, and it's open source too. Yes, and right. And I have a lot more information about these Islamic apps, which after we're done recording, I can go into more detail. Okay, so it's almost done here. Sorry, I probably should have downloaded a smaller model than a 60 gig model, uh, but it's almost done. I'm downloading a model from Olama, from Hugging Face, actually. And after I download it, I'm going to start using it. I want to show you all how to download an open source model and use it locally on your own computer. Okay. Okay. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm downloading an alternative to ChatGPT. Okay. And then showing you how you can actually use it. So ChatGPT is owned by OpenAI. They control all the data that goes in and out of there, right? It's hosted on their equipment, on their infrastructure. They own everything. They can do whatever they want with your data. But when you use this is running on your own computer. The data is not going anywhere. You own all the data, and it's much more safer from a privacy perspective. No, it's already trained. Exactly. It's so it's not. It's trained by um, various people, various organizations. Like the one I'm downloading right now, I think is a Chinese model called. I think they're called ZAI, and so they built a model. They trained it on all billions of data points and parameters, and now they gave it. They allow anyone to use it for free on your own computer. Exactly. Sure, but because it's open source, I'm more confident in it because that means that any developer can look at every line of source code and look at it and ensure that it's safe. And the fact that it's on Hugging Face means again that it's been vetted by a third party and they say it's safe. That's what I'm working on. Yeah. Right. 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 Yes. They are. So they have enterprise contracts with them that state that they're not going to use that enterprise data to train their own models. That's what they say, right? Maybe they're not doing that. Maybe they are. I don't know. Right. Yeah. Okay. So our new model's downloaded. It's right here, GLM. Now what I'm going to do is I just need to refresh my Libre chat. Um, so give me a second here. Okay. And now let's open up Libre chat. So here, this is running on my computer at home. I have a little VPN running so I can access everything from here. And here we go. It looks just like ChatGPT, except it's running from my house. And I go here to Olama. Here's the new model. So I'm going to say, give it a little prompt here. Uh, write me a 200-word story about AI. Okay. And while it's running, sorry. Yeah, I picked my model from here. So here's the list of models that I have that I've downloaded, okay? And here is my dashboard for my DGX Spark. So what I want to show you is when I hit send, when I hit go to send that chat, you're going to see the memory spike, you're going to see the GPU utilization spike, so you can kind of see it all work here. So here. Okay, it's sending. So the first time you run a model, especially because this isn't a running, enterprise level machine here. So here you can see, great. But the memory now is at 88 gigabytes here. The GPU isn't utilized yet. So what it's doing is it's loading the model in memory right now. Once it's loaded, then the GPU will kick in. Boom. Now GPU kicked in, 95%. So now we look here, it's thinking. Right? So it's thinking now. So now the model's being utilized. And let's go back here. So once this GPU utilization goes back to 0, you know that it's done. Every single prompt you put in, every single response you put in, all of the context data, you don't even know when you use Claude Code, it has access to your file system, right? What is it taking and sending up to Anthropic servers? Who knows? Right? You can limit it to a certain command, certain folders, yeah. But still, you don't know what data it's sending out. You have that risk, exactly. So that's an overall summary. You can see that it created the story here. So that's an overall summary of my presentation. I hope it was helpful. I hope it was useful. And I have one more little announcement to make. Oh, yeah, let's look at Kimmy. Okay, so here's Kimmy. It's done. I don't know much about video editing. Yeah. Maybe Subayl knows. Oh, my brother told me about that. Okay, guys, I want to show you this. Okay, so here is some of the research it did, the Kimi research. Comprehensive research on hadith evidence for Islam's truth. Table of contents. It's pretty long. Signs of the last day that have already appeared. Appearance of dishonesty and cheat. So these are all the signs of the day of judgment that have already come true, right? What's that? No, I ran it from the kimi.com site. So that's hadith evidence. Here's historical evidence. It didn't make a nice PDF document for me, unfortunately. The prophecies about the Quran, conquest prophecies, right? So this is probably about Surah Rum, right? So it did a pretty good job. Okay, so I want to show you one more thing. This is our announcement. So inshallah, what we'd love to launch is a hackathon. If I want to gauge interest in the community here. So what is a hackathon? Who can tell me what a hackathon is? Yes, brother. Yep. And you have a time constraint, right? Usually, yes. Yes. So the goal here, the mission is to innovate, to uplift the ummah, right? We're doing this so that we can uplift the ummah. The ummah needs us, right? We are probably in a very blessed position where we have access to great technology. We have a roof over our heads. We probably live the 1% life in the whole world. We have safety, right? We have all of this. We must use it to serve the ummah, right? So we want to innovate to uplift the ummah. That's our mission here. So we will have probably a Friday and a Saturday, maybe 2 days, where we build something, and by the end of it, we have a working demo. And the idea is we have a few different tracks: education and media, maybe social media. Who has heard of the new social media app that was created by a Palestinian brother? Yes. Up scroll. Number 1 ranked app in the App Store right now. Basically a replacement for TikTok. Why? Because TikTok was now limiting and shadow banning posts that you know. Okay, community engagement. How do we get more Muslims involved in the community? STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, building applications around that. Social good, right? Solving world problems like hunger or education or access to technology, all of that. So this is the goal, right? So if you all are interested in it, we can register right now for your interest. And I want to make this large. I don't want to just restrict this to Islamic Center Prosper. We want to make Prosper the center of Islam, of technology and Islam, right? Where we can build apps and make a huge difference for the ummah. So if you're with me, if you're interested, please register. I'll make this, this QR code big here. Kimi made this website too, right? That's pretty good. um, 1 minute. 1 minute, if that. Okay? Yeah, that's why I pay for it now. So, it, I think it's like $20 a month. No, there's no technical constraints. You use your creativity. You know, sometimes creativity is best when you have constraints. If you have all the money and resources in the world, you actually become more constrained. That's why these startups come up so quickly. It's because they don't have a lot of money, they don't have a lot of resources, and they just figure things out, right? So no constraints on technology, but you're constrained on time, right? And we're going to have a few judges. We're going to try to find very successful tech people who in tech careers who have rise from the ranks, right? Maybe tech entrepreneurs, all of these to be judges. We will have one winner, but everyone's a winner. Honestly, if you do something good, it serves the ummah. We're all winners, right? But we're gonna have access to mentors, inshallah. So all of you who are interested, please sign up, and inshallah, if you have any questions, I'm here. So this is the end of the presentation. I'd love for all of you to stick around, meet each other, ask each other, talk to each other, and network with each other. The ummah needs us to work together. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.